watching me from the depths below. A haunted grave where shadows grow. Deadpit is watching me with eyes so cold. They're watching me now. In the silence.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the DEADPIT is Watching show. As usual, I am Uncle Bill.
I'm the Creepy Kentucky, and this is the third show, Uncle Bill. Triple threat. I'm excited to review some more movies.
I'm going to tell you right now that we have a batch of movies unlike any other tonight. I mean, some of the most diverse movies that I think
That's
we've
what
ever
we do.
watched.
We're all about diversity here. We have to be.
We're inclusive.
2024. Yeah.
Some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. I know that. But
Ooh. You ready to dive into it? You want me to start this time?
yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and start.
We got plenty of movies to talk about.
Yeah,
So,
let's do it.
this past week celebrated Halloween, and it's got to be for the fourth or fifth straight fucking year. I watched Michael Dougherty's Trick or Treat, and it's from a new 4K that Arrow Video came out with a couple of weeks ago. And a lot of people were excited about this release. People are still talking about it. Like, people love Trick or Treat, Uncle Bill. You know, it's from 2007, even though nobody really saw it until 2009. It's garnered a huge cult fan base. It's all over the Halloween season. Trick or Treat, sumbitch. Horror anthology movie set on Halloween. And goddamn bulls, how many fucking movies ripped that off? After that came out, the success of Trick or Treat, there is a gazillion other horror. It's almost like a subgenre of anthology movies set around Halloween. But it all started with Michael Dougherty's Trick or Treat from Warner Brothers. Thank God Arrow Video got the chance to do the 4K of this. Our friends at Scheme Factory, and I'll be honest, they did a kick-ass Blu-ray of it. So a lot of people were asking, is this worth upgrading to the Arrow 4K?
I mean, it's one that I'm curious about, to be honest with you, because like I people give me shit for saying this, but there's certain movies I'm just bored to death with, and Trick or Treat is one of them movies. Like, I love it; it's a great movie.
You're burnt out on it.
I'm burnt out on it. I'm burnt out on this, and there's a lot of movies that I'm burnt out on, but this one is definitely one of them. But I am curious, like, is it worth getting again on 4K?
Okay, so here's the thing. It's a 4K transfer. It does look fantastic. The detail on it is insane. But it's almost like one of those deals where, and I can just judge with the equipment that I have, with the TV that I have. So if somebody has an OLED TV, has a better TV, it may be different for you guys. It seemed to me, and I didn't go back and compare, that the Blu-ray was more colorful, right? It had more of the Halloween hue. And the 4K, it had some of that, but I mean, it looks great though. The detail on it, you will notice fine details in it, and all that. But the color was the thing about it. It was supervised by the director. They can always change the color timing and all that with any of these releases. But it did look, I felt that it looked a little bit different, but a lot of people are singing the praises for this release. It's tough, man. I mean, I'm tempted to buy the full retail version of it. But I haven't yet.
I just feel like, man, that, you know, some of these 4Ks really, you would almost have to have like a really uber expensive TV to get out of them, like what you would need to get out of them. Because some of the ones that I watch in here where I just have like a regular TV and stuff like that, I'm like, they're way too dark. Like, they're just, I know when I watched To Live and Die in LA, like, that was the immediate thought that I had. Like, the same thing you're saying, basically. Like, it was way too dark. it was like, and then I watched the Blu-ray and I'm like, this is like the better version of it because like everything is more vivid and it captures that California kind of tone and stuff more. But when you put in the 4K on a TV, like a regular, LED TV or something like that, it's just like some of these are just very dark and just too saturated to me.
I
Like,
don't. It's almost with this one though that it wasn't saturated enough.
oh,
Like that's the thing that I noticed out of this. Now maybe I'm just like I said, I could have outdated equipment or whatever. Yeah, you shouldn't have to adjust your settings or anything like Dirk was saying. It should look great on any TV, you would think, right?
you
I mean,
would, but
it
that's
looks great.
definitely
I'm not saying it doesn't look great, but I, from the memories of the Blu-ray, which I fucking hate Scream Factory. Everybody knows I can't stand Scream Factory, so I
yeah.
wouldn't say any of this unless it was totally true. But like I remember that being one of the better Blu-rays, and it's pretty. I think it was a 2K scan back in 2018.
I mean, I don't know about you, how you feel about it, but I don't think there is another format that's as subjective as 4K. Like most of the time, if you get a Blu-ray and everybody like watches the Blu-ray, right, on whatever fucking TV you got,
Mhm.
they'll say the same basic thing. It either looks a certain way or it doesn't look a certain way.
Yeah,
But with 4K, it's like it really is the one that matters the most about like what kind of setup you got, what kind of settings you got on, like that kind, and that's really annoying. Like to be honest, more so than it is like enjoyable. It's kind of fucking annoying.
yeah. My wife loves this movie though. We watch it every year. Great movie, man. I wish that they would eventually do like a sequel. I don't know what the hell the holdup is with that. But I mean, if you don't have any version of it in HD, grab this one. It looks great. The detail on it's fantastic. There's a ton of extras in it as well that are brand new and exclusive to this Arrow version. To be honest with you, the version that I would have purchased sold out really quickly. It was the Arrow store exclusive that had the original poster art on it and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not big on that new artwork that they did for it. I mean, it's okay, but I would much rather have the original poster art. But there is some new interviews in this. It has pretty much all the archival stuff. There is Becoming Sam, a brand new interview with actor Quinn Lord. The Devil's in the Details, an interview with the production designer Mark Freeborn. Designs to Die For, brand new interview with costume designer Bark the Moon, brand new interview with creature designer Patrick Teleboulos. Tons of interviews on this. There's a featurette with the director and producers and everything. Loads and loads of extras. There is the original short film, which I don't think I've seen this. It may be on the Scream Factory. I'm not sure. Season's Greetings, short film from 1996, directed by Michael Dougherty, with optional director commentary. It's kind of cool. I mean, there's a ton of extras on it. If you're a big fan, like I'm still considering purchasing the full retail version because Arrow does a fantastic job on pretty much everything that they do. If you don't have it on HD or anything, go for it, get it. I think it's fairly sold out right now, but they are going to be restocking them.
I was going to say, like, this is one of those movies where it will be restocked until the end of time. Like, there'll be somebody putting this movie out every 1 to 2 years from now on. Like, so don't worry about like it being sold out for now.
Yeah, I mean, there may be the limited edition version from Arrow with the slipcover and everything. I mean, that may be sold out. I'm not really sure. But, man, Arrow just does a fantastic job. And even if we don't get the full-blown retail versions of these, I like to check them out because they do a fantastic edition for about everything. And we can get an idea on, hey, which of these is worth definitely picking up and which not. Like, I was so impressed with the Warriors edition that I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm not buying this. Like I wasn't even that familiar with the movie until that edition came out.
Yep.
And I watched it and I was like, God damn, I fucking love this movie. And this 4K looks outstanding. Great. And one of the, I don't know if that was I think it was last year. Maybe it was this year. One of the better releases that year for sure. But yeah, that's Trick or Treat, some bitch. It is out now from Arrow Video. Check it out.
So I guess I'll do one that I know that you haven't seen, thank God. But like, I mean, it is not that bad, but it's not my cup of tea. It's not something that I would seek out and watch like normally or anything like that. It does have a few good things going for it. And it's not something that we would normally probably ever review. But it is Severin's A Dog Called Vengeance, which I did not realize until I watched it actually has as its lead star Jason Miller from The Exorcist. And one of the few other roles that I've seen like Jason Miller in besides The Exorcist. But yeah. So I was kind of curious what this movie was all about. And somebody asked earlier, like, is this the movie where somebody like has like, there is a movie that they put out where somebody has.
I think it's probably the one that I've got.
Relations with no, this is not that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's the one. Like, I've got one of those dog movies that Severin did. So
well, then that must
may
be the
next
one
week.
because this is not that movie. I just tell you.
Yeah, we're going to have a rapid fire Severin review show here coming up shortly, and that'll be one of them included.
So essentially, it is a political movie that is about Jason Miller's character, who's a fugitive, and he is sent to a prison camp. He escapes the prison camp and he goes on the run, and he's going around to all these different places, basically seeking revenge on these different kind of characters that have helped either imprison him, or he's just trying to escape a lot of the times and get to different spots. But there's this dog, this giant like German Shepherd
Called
that
Vengeance.
is following him. Yeah, I think the dog's actual name is like El Perro or something like that. Or maybe
What's a
Perro
Spanish
is
dog?
Dog in Spanish, but they keep
Is
saying
this a
it all
Spanish
through.
movie?
This is a Spanish movie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trying to see who the director is. Antonio Escesi.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. So yeah, Spain. This is a Spanish film made from Spain. And anyway, the dog follows Jason Miller's character around, and anywhere it follows, chaos ensues, and it usually ends up like killing people that he's close to. Just anybody around him, like shortly after he's visited each place. Until the end, when there's like this battle between him and the dog. So essentially, it is an allegory for Spain at that time, which was
What year was this movie?
Oh, Jesus Christ. This was
Was this before The Exorcist?
78.
Okay, so
this was 5 years after The Exorcist. Yeah. So it was supposed to be based on like the political struggle of Franco, I think. He was the whatever the hell it is in Spain, dictator, president. I don't know what the hell they are in Spain. Yeah. But and the gist of the movie is that until Jason Miller faces this dog that's following him and destroying everything around him, that like he can't ever get any peace, and he's got to stand up to this thing, as in like stand up to the regime, or like it will destroy everything around him. So it's that type of movie that's kind of it's not as good as Salo when it comes to, you know, spreading its message of how you have to stand up to the government or you'll be eating shit for the rest of your life. But it is the same type of movie. It's not that bad of a movie, really, but it's just not something that I would sit down and watch.
It was something else that Severin Films saved. It's film preservation at its finest.
Basically, it feels that way. It feels like it's a movie that, like, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that this movie would kind of hit home with, but it feels more like that this is just kind of a part of that of the past that they wanted to kind of like save because it like said something about politics and the relationship between the character in this and that country at the time. So
Mhm.
I think that's more of it than anything else.
And this one came out kind of recently, I think, from Severin, right? Is there any extra features on it or anything?
Yeah, there is a film ahead of its time. Appreciation by Angel Sala, head of programming at the Sigus Film Festival. I can never pronounce whatever the hell that is. Memories of a Gorilla Woman, interview with the actress Marissa Paredes. Daughter of Titans, interview with Marissa Assisi, daughter of the director. And yeah, it's
Hmm.
all the special features on there. It is captivating from start to finish, says Psycho Vision. So
Sweet. Very
look
cool.
here. Look here on the inside of it. It's got them fucking dogs in there. It's gonna get you.
Does it have a reversible artwork? That's
Mm,
always good, too.
Let's see if it does. I don't know. No, it's you get one fucking artwork, and that's what you get.
It's a dog called Vengeance.
Um, it's funny though because like I normally like would hate a movie like this, but it's actually like probably Jason Miller's acting in it is what saves it more than anything else. Because I don't mind movies like Sorcerer and stuff like that, and it's I won't say it's like Sorcerer or like as good as Sorcerer by any stretch of the imagination, but like it does have a lot of themes that you find in movies like that. So
Yeah, so, yeah, check that out. And then, the next Dead Pit is watching. I'll get to take a look at the movie where the woman fucks the dog.
God bless her. I
Next
can't believe
up,
that movie fucking exists, if I'm being honest.
it does. The woman fucks the dog in it.
Wouldn't that be killer though? If at the end of this movie, Jason Miller had the fucking dog to get free, he's like, "That's what I gotta do.
You gotta fuck the vengeance dog.
You gotta fuck that vengeance dog. You can't get out of here."
You son of a bitch. Jason Miller. Maybe that's where fucking Joshua John Miller come from. That was his son, right? There was something bad wrong with him when he was younger.
Yep.
Anyway,
We all know that's a song right there.
he's a product
Fuck
of
the
a
vengeance dog.
fucking dog. All right.
Oh.
So this one right here, actually, I think you can get it on Grindhouse Releasing Store right now, but it doesn't go on sale anywhere else until November the 26th. Grindhouse Releasing, they don't do a whole lot of physical media releases per year. I think this is the second one the entire year.
I'm
And this is-
surprised they did two of them. To be honest, they usually don't even do that.
Yeah. And this one was known as like kind of a lost film from 1973, Hollywood 90028. Christina Hornisher, who I think this was the only movie that she made. And this, I mean, I don't think it's particularly a great movie or anything, but it's kind of interesting. Like if you're a fan of, it reminded me a little bit of Maniac, although not really any gore or anything in it. The character in it, Christopher Augustine is the actor. He plays Mark, who the cameraman in Hollywood that works on these low budget porn sets for this fucking guy. He looks like a fat Bob Ross who you would die laughing by just seeing him. Like he's a white guy with a big afro. He's loves watching the porns being made and likes to eat while he's watching, the girls and everything. So like that's Mark though. He's like a loner guy. He does the porn shoots for money to get by and everything and wanders the streets of Hollywood. And here's the thing with Mark. He's also a serial killer. Uncle Bill.
He's gonna chop you up into itty bitty pieces, my friend.
He's out to fuck some people up. And, they show kind of what he does. You kind of get the idea of who he is pretty early on. But the fat director guy, I think his character's name was Jobel.
What?
Jobel.
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 Jub for short.
He finds a new actress. I think the character's name was Michelle, who Mark has like a thing for. He may change his ways for this girl. He's really, smitten with her. When he sees her jugs, he just goes wild. But this is like this. This is from '73, old movie, over 50 years old. And psychedelic stuff is in this, right? The cinematographer in this also did Lamora, A Child's Tale Supernatural. So
Hell yeah.
there's some great visuals in this, especially the end scene. Mark and his chaos just spirals out of control. And lot of shots of, there's a lot of movies that captured that time in like the late 70s, early 80s in New York City. Well, this kind of does the same thing for the early to mid 70s in Hollywood and how it was back then, and the Southern California area and everything. This was a movie that, unless they were completely staging this, they found in a dumpster. The original camera negatives was thrown out. I don't know if they were tipped off or whatever, but there's video footage of them saving this movie, which had never seen an official release of any kind since the theatrical run. Is it great? No. I think it's interesting. It's something that people would probably get a kick out of seeing. The final shot is pretty amazing in it. Great cinematography in it. Not necessarily a straight up like horror movie, I wouldn't think. But I think a lot of people that check out our show that like some of that crazy cult stuff would probably enjoy this. The transfer on this is outstanding. Anything that Grindhouse Releasing does looks unreal. Like it's insane.
That's one company that's on par with like Synapse to me. It may be the only company on par with Synapse to me.
And I'll tell you this, we've mentioned this before. If I was doing a boutique company, I would mimic pretty much everything that they do with the physical, like on the physical side of it. So all their releases have this nice like bookcase top cover. And then I've always hated the Blu-ray cases. So they use kind of what I think Criterion does, the same thing, where it's pretty much just a smaller DVD case. And then inside this is loaded up with special features too. You've got a book inside this. You've got the soundtrack included in a separate little slipcase, 2-disc edition on Blu-ray. You've got the featurette on one disc and the extras on another disc. Tons of interviews with the stars of this, audio commentaries, alternate scenes from the X-rated cut, which is kind of weird because they're not really X-rated. Outtakes. There's liner notes. Jim Van Baber is a gigantic fan of this movie. Big surprise. Ty West is a big fan of this movie as well. And it is out now from Grindhouse Releasing. If you go to their website, everywhere else, November the 26th, baby. It's an interesting watch. I'll say that. Is it something that I would ever watch again? Probably not. But it's a cool time capsule for that period, and great transfer. Solid acting job too for a guy that I don't know if he really did much else. Christopher Augustine.
Yeah, I end up usually buying like whatever they do. It doesn't matter what it is, like that Impulse movie. Like I had no interest in fucking watching that, but for some reason, like anything Grindhouse released,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Shatner at all, but yeah, that one was a different sort of William Shatner movie.
was it as good as Kingdom of the Spiders though?
Yes, I thought it was.
Just checking. So the other one that I've got to review is one of my favorite unknown or little known Cat 3 movies because it's not like a traditional Cat 3 movie at all. It's part of a subgenre of Cat 3 movies that is like black magic Cat 3 movies. Okay. So most of the time when you got like a category 3 movie from Asia, then you've got something that's like a slasher film or a fucking, pornography kind of like something hardcore porn, something like that. This is neither of those things. It does have gore in it, but it's like completely insane. That'd probably be the best way I could explain this movie too. Is completely insane. So this is Red spells red from our buddies over at Air 4444444
Four fours, 4 4 4 4 4
Yeah.
fours.
And this is in and out of print all the time. So I think it's still in print on their site right now, but it goes out of print almost like immediately. They get some in and then like it just sells out. So it's also like on Diabolic, you can get like it's already sold out, but it was on there for a brief period of time. Every now and then they'll just put more up and you just have to guess, I suppose, about when they, put them up or not. But this one and Centipede Horror kind of are hand in hand for like the black magic Cat 3 films that they always have from the Air. I'm just gonna call them Air because I don't want to put 444 in every fucking thing.
Air, 4 4
So
4 4.
I made some notes about this movie for this show, and I think it'd be funnier real quick before I explain the movie, just to like read my notes. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Number 1 in my notes: frog death. Number 2, hilarious sex scene. Number 3, bird blood acid. Number 4, forest attack scene. Number 5, love pig murder. And finally, a guy eating a live pig. Those are my notes for this movie. And every one of those things is exactly what it says it is.
Let
So,
me ask you this.
yeah,
Where do you watch these movies?
in my room under a blanket by myself. Nor will I
Okay.
ever watch any of these movies outside this fucking room.
Okay.
So let me be clear on something real quick about this movie too. This movie has animal death in it. A lot of animal death in it. Maybe more animal carnage than in like Cannibal Holocaust. And I think the primary reason this movie exists is like this is like the Cat 3 counterpart to Cannibal Holocaust.
Wow.
It seems like it anyway. Except of course, like the Asians just went like way more overboard than they watched Cannibal Holocaust and were like, how can we top that?
Now, what time period was this made?
83. This movie was made in 83.
Wow.
So there is an animal cruelty free version that you can like flip on that Air has for this too, by the way. Trying to explain this movie is almost fucking impossible, but I'm going to do my best to try. Okay. So there is, in like ancient times or many, many years ago, there's an evil dwarf sorcerer that's performing a ritual. And you see this at the beginning of the movie. And suddenly like 4 other like dudes, like, I guess they're like, priests or other sorcerers or something like that, enter into like the cave where he's doing it and they attack him and they wound him and throw him into like a stone coffin. And then you fast forward, they seal the coffin and everything, and then you fast forward like to present day, and there's this group of like camera or this TV camera group for like the news and shit like that that are investigating this cave basically and all these stories behind this cave, and they unwittingly, of course, as this always happens, unlock this coffin, and this purple red smoke and shit comes out of it, and essentially they've set free the evil sorcerer, and
God bless
that,
you for trying to explain this movie.
yeah, I mean that's it really.
Okay.
So
Man, you've really fallen in like the Cat 3 rabbit hole, right? Like, what
yeah,
movie do you think it was that really got you kind of hooked? Because I'm not super
um,
familiar with these
it
movies. I
was
mean,
when we watched Ebola Syndrome. I was like, I like this way more than I ever thought that I would like that. You know what I mean? Like, so after that point, like I just really started getting more and more into it. And yeah, I'm really way far down in the rabbit hole of Cat 3 films at this point. Uh like there was a time period where I was really into the Italian stuff and the giallos and the gore and splatter stuff, but right now I'm primarily into Cat 3. So okay, so this group goes into this village and they don't realize what they've done, that they've unlocked this fucking, crazy sorcerer and all this stuff. So they enter into this village and they find this older guy and like this group of miscreants and things like that. One of them even like has sex with like this beautiful woman, and all the rest of them are just kind of wandering around like doing all this weird shit. And then you come to find out that the next day that they go back there and like that place doesn't exist, and all the people that were there have been dead for like years and years and years. So it's also that type of movie, right? So within all of this, like then pretty much about 3/4 of the way through the movie, everything starts going like chaotic. Like then the black magic stuff starts to attack all these people. One of them is killed by like the forest, quite literally, like by a bamboo tree, which is fucking a killer scene. Another one is killed, I won't give them all away, but like they're all killed by nature in some way or another. And then like there's all these scorpions that start coming out. That's kind of the trademark of this movie, is these scorpions start to come out of nowhere and kill all these people. One guy has to have his arm like cut off by a machete because he gets bit by a scorpion. And then people start getting possessed by the spirits of this evil sorcerer. And in probably my top 5 crazy ass Cat 3 scenes I've ever fucking witnessed. I think they did this legitimately, man. And that is just disturbing to think about. One of the natives gets like possessed and he eats a chicken live, like for real. Like you can see him like pulling the guts out of it and stuff and like eating it, and like he pulls one of the wings off and puts it in his mouth and is eating it, like, and I think it's legitimate. Like, I think it's real. If
I mean, you
if it
got to. This was like '83,
yeah,
and it was in Japan, right, or China?
China, yeah, Hong Kong, somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, it was probably real.
I was watching it and I was like, man, first of all, why? But second of all, like, yeah, I mean, they that exists. Like that scene exists in a movie where somebody eats a chicken live. Like that
Wow.
happens.
Mm.
And there's other scenes too that are less graphic and much more like
So, if you were to pick, I mean, if somebody wanted to get hardcore into the Category 3 movies from Hong Kong,
yeah.
what's on the Mount Rushmore of Category 3 movies so far that you've seen?
Well, I made a video about this. Are we going to release that fucking video, or do you want me to just tell everybody right now? Because I can do
No,
that.
I was going to let you hop it up.
All right. Well, there's a
I was
video
trying to,
coming out of my picks for this,
yeah.
but I can tell you that right now, because there's so many of these, man, that I haven't seen. It's crazy. Like, because I was going on like a scavenger hunt kind of thing where I was like trying to find out like what are all the Cat 3 films that are out. It's just one of those, it's like the Italian movies, man. It's like once you get it, like there's so many of them that it would take forever to, and most of them are not out on anything. Like most of the main ones that people will like reference aren't out on anything.
Stay tuned to the Error 4444
Exactly.
side, though. They're releasing a bunch of stuff. Like they had some new announcements and pre-orders up, I think,
Yeah.
coming.
And I mean, there's still huge titles that people always talk about that are not really out on anything accessible to us in the US. But anyway, my Mount Rushmore would probably be like, um, I would pick Red to Kill, Ebola, Run and Kill, and Untold Story. Like that would be my 4. And those are all pretty wild and I don't know. It's the problem with this movie is right here though. I don't know where the hell this fits. It doesn't really fit in any category. I mean, you have to call it like black magic, like a black magic kind of supernatural horror film.
Mm.
But it's exploitation too, very much. Like, and I mean, I liked it a lot. Um, I didn't really appreciate the live chicken death, or the live pig death, or the live frog death, or the live scorpion death, or the multitude of
There's
other
lots
animals.
of. Yeah, there's probably not a. Is there? Did you say there was a cruelty-free version?
Yeah, there's an animal that you can just.
It's 15 minutes long.
It's 10-minute movie if you watch it on that. It's I'm looking on here. It's 3 minutes of less footage if you watch the animal cruelty free version.
Yeah.
And I recommend that you watch that version, by the way. There's some cool stuff though. There's like a guy that gets his hand mangled in like an editing machine because he's like he gets like they film when they open up the coffin, right? And so he's watching the film when they open up the coffin, and the fucking black magic takes him over, and he puts his hand or he imagines he's putting his hand in a like editing machine till it like saws his fingers off. So there's cool stuff in it all the way through. I'll say that.
So, and this is one that's readily available now, or is it
I
already?
think right now it's
Okay.
available on air. I don't think it's sold out again yet, but it will sell out within a week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so check them out. The pure definition of a boutique label is Error 4444.
Yeah.
So the next one I'm taking a look at, unfortunately, Uncle Bill didn't get to check this one out. We had a lot of requests for people, from people on that last show where we reviewed The Substance. And I think Stuntman Mark is another big supporter of this movie, which
He loves this movie. Yeah, this I think might be his pick for the year.
JT Molnar, the director, and it came out in theaters back in August. I think it's making the rounds digitally now if anybody wants to rent it. And there's other ways to check it out, I'm sure. Strange Darling. And this is interesting. Critically acclaimed, of course. Had a perfect rating on Rotten Tomato when it opened. Stephen King put it over really hardcore, which he doesn't do for a lot of newer movies, horror movies. But anyway, we had lots of requests for this, and I did check it out. Thank God that there's more of these 90. This is like a 96-minute movie. So not a huge time investment. And a lot of movies, man, I hope that they get away from the 2.5 hour films, unless it truly needs it. Some of them do. This one didn't. But anyway, Strange Darling. This movie is in 6 chapters. It has like an opening too that's very similar to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it's kind of telling the story of this serial killer and the killings that took place from, I think it's set in modern time, but it's one of those that's kind of ambiguous, baby, where it could be set at any point in time because there's really nothing that dates it. But yeah, I think they said it was based on murders that happened in 2018 through 2020. So the 2 leads in this, the lady, which is played by Willa Fitzgerald. She's a lady. And the demon, played by Kyle Gallner, who is a child actor that done a lot of stuff like in the early 2000s, but haven't seen him in a whole lot. Really great. Both of these leads are great. in
Somebody said
this.
he was in Haunting in Connecticut.
Yes,
I was
he
like,
was.
Jesus.
He was a teenager in Haunting in Connecticut.
Okay.
And he's been in a bunch of TV and all that. And this is one of those movies that you can't really talk a whole lot about it without. And I don't want to give it away because I want people to check it out and don't look anything up about it. Just watch it. It revolves around those two meeting up one night for sexual relations, baby. And this guy, she's into real kinky, like smack you around sex or whatever. And she's trying to teach him that. And things kind of get a little bit out of control. And just when you think you've got all the answers, the questions are changed by Rowdy Roddy Piper. And you're off to the races from there, kind of like a cat and mouse sort of deal. I marked the fuck out because Ed Begley Jr. is in this. And he has a pretty decent sized role in this. I think Barbara Hershey and Ed Begley Jr. are a hippie couple. And they're not in it a whole lot, but they show up in it sort of midway through the movie. It's cool to see him in, and that's one dude that's like, I want to start calling him the immortal Ed Begley Jr. because he's looked the same.
The immortal.
He looks essentially the same for the last 40 years.
Doesn't he have some sort of weird like diet? I know he's super like eco-conscious because that's one thing that he came out on like a couple years ago. But he's also like super like into like nutrition and stuff like that. Like, so yeah, I think that's part of why he looks the way that he does.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be 75 years old at least.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing about this one too, if I didn't mention it, and I think we maybe have talked about this guy and was like, where in the hell is he at? Giovanni Ribisi, who Saving Private Ryan, I think was like the biggest role that he had, but he was a great character actor. He did all kinds of shit.
He was great in The Gift too.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Yeah. And he is debuting as a cinematographer in this. And the shots in this are great. The way it's shot in 35 millimeter, man. And you can tell too, like it looks like a film. I mean, I like this a lot. I think it was great. Like, Willa Fitzgerald is fucking great. Like, I don't know what else she's been in, but she was amazing in this. Unreal acting. Great story. It was shot, and I'm sure there'll be a fan edit of this that'll actually re-edit the chapters into one, right? But I don't think the movie would work as good like that. And when I first saw that they were doing that, I was like, God, fuck another artsy fartsy, everybody ripping off fucking Quentin Tarantino, right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think it's really needed for this movie and it works. And this is a great movie, man. I think you need to check it out. I think I like The Substance more, to be honest with you.
I was going to ask you, like, if you had to pick between those two movies, because I know that's the two everybody's kind of going back and forth with right now.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. But yeah, I would say that I like The Substance a bit more than this. So it's just a bit, I mean, it may be different for you though. I mean,
That's
The
true.
Substance had stuff that I liked more. This is really good though, man. It's like almost like one of those thrillers, like sex thrillers from the 90s. They did a lot of those in the 90s, but with some extra blood and chaos and insanity. But I would highly recommend everybody check it out. I didn't know anything about it. I went in it totally blind, and that's what everybody says to do. And the big twist in it, it got me. I didn't, but don't look into it. I'll just say that. Just go in and watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, enjoyed it.
I just feel like there would be hard pressed to find a movie that I would like more than The Substance. That kind of movie is like my kind of movie anyway, like that Cronenbergian kind of body horror style movie. But I mean, I will watch this movie. I don't think it would matter what the fuck that it was really at this point.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I'm going to watch this one. Now here's the thing. And Dirk has a good point here. Or no, I'm sorry, Black Peter. Interested in seeing.
Black Peter has a good point.
There's a good point to Black Peter. Rewatchability. I do think that Strange Darling may have more rewatchability than The Substance. It's one of those movies that you could go back and probably, because of the way it's filmed and the way it's put together, it'd be fun to go back and rewatch it. But I mean, it's just whatever sort of movie that you're into. They're both solid movies, but I knew that, somebody would ask which one that I enjoyed more. And honestly, it was The Substance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Strange Darling is still, I don't think it's got a physical media release announced or anything either. So that's kind of interesting. But download it, rent it, do whatever you want to do. Check it out. Strange Darling, baby. Let me tell you something.
It's going to come a point here soon in the very, very near future where we're going to have to put out like our top films of the year list. I mean, we've only got a month left.
There's still a few that I need to watch. I still haven't seen Maxine.
I haven't either. I hate to say that, but I haven't seen that movie all the way through either. I tried to watch it like 2 or 3 times and just.
I watched like the first 5 minutes of it and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. But I think I had to go to work or something. Yeah.
But yeah, that should be interesting though.
Yeah. Yeah. The end of the year is fastly approaching, but I guess that is it for the episode. And let us know, guys, what you think of the movies and the comments and everything. And again, the way these shows are set up, we have timestamps down below. If you just want to check out a couple of reviews, you can do that. And we're High Tech Rednecks Mayberry meets Star Trek. And we will catch you guys next time over at DEADPIT.com.
Oh, shit.
Chicken and Chase. I'd like to tell people, thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury and just love everything about it.
You hit the heart button, then you hit the ass button, then you hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market's crashing around us, folks, but send us money.